Monte Carlo simulations to characterize plasma. Myself, Evan Svoboda, and my advisor from my school was Milka Nikolic. And so I got started off by saying why this is important in Silicon Valley. Plasma etching is a form of plasma processing to fabricate integrated circuits. So it's how they make the technology in our computers or in these Apple chips so small. And how you do it is you take gas, whether it be nitrogen, oxygen, we use argon, you heat it up to, let's say about 500 degrees Fahrenheit, like, oven temperature. And you run an electric field through it. And so what we do is make a small aperture in the device so that we literally make stuff like this by shooting an atom at it, one atom at a time. So it's super accurate. And so the reason why I write Monte Carlo plasma simulations is by studying the plasma more carefully, we can make better, smaller technology. And at my school, USF, where I graduated from, we actually have a plasma etcher. So if you want to make a chip, no matter how small, a couple millionths of a meter, we can do it. And so, you guys are a little young, but the technique is called Monte Carlo. Anybody heard of it? No? There we go. Yeah, Markovian techniques used to generate real results by using random numbers. And this little picture, somebody used Monte Carlo techniques to calculate pi by just plotting random values and saying how many of them landed inside the circle. And so how we applied this was we had different randomly generated values. As you get older, public speaking does get easier. For example, anybody here have taken physics or even likes physics? Show of hands, yeah. So when an electron collides with the argon atom, or with another electron, there's a bunch of different angles we can go, depending on what space you're using, Cartesian, polar, spherical. And so all those angles are essentially randomly generated. A little bit of math, but don't worry about it. Nothing too hard. Oh. Anybody here know about atomic excitation? Ish? So, or taking chemistry, maybe taking chemistry. There we go. It's a fancy word for chemistry. When an electron collides with an atom, it can knock one of the electrons in the inner orbit to a higher energy state, and for a second, the atom has more energy than it normally does. But due to conservation of energy and just the laws of nature, it has to come back down at some point and releases it in a form of a light wave. And so these light waves tell us more about the plasma. So when the electron hits the atom, it could either bounce off, just elastic. It could ionize it, giving it the extra charge, or a lack of charge for a positive one, or it could quantumly excite it. Also, it could miss, nothing happens. It's always fun. Cool. I just have to zoom out. So, continue to Monte Carlo. These are values from 0.00 to 1. And to choose which kind of collision happens, we just generate a random flow between 0 and 1. Nothing too hard. And if you want to visualize it, you actually can. Even though we send in one simulated electron at a time, going in and out, they follow the path of the electric field, and you get this beautiful picture. our results were comparable to other work in the field. And in science, that means you did a good job. Ours was the red one. But if any of you guys ever get into research, it's always about improving, about trying to find any inefficiencies in your model. Because at the end of the day, science is always improving and there's always room to know more. So our results were a little bit higher than the rest, also a little bit more condensed. So that could mean that we have things more right than our competition, or it could mean that we're a little bit off. So what we're going to do is research into adding more types of collisions, whether they're different excitations, whether it's electron-electron collisions versus electron-atom collisions, and go from there. Just reiterating what I just said. And this was all written in about 2,500 to 3,000 lines of Python. Yeah, so it was fun. USF paid me for it, and I got to present to a conference. And it's even applicable to the tech world, because in the tech world you also want to generate randomly results with Markovian processes, such as Monte Carlo. Because this is the research I do with the physics department, and currently with the School of Management, the business school, I'm writing a simulation of Uber and Lyft to find out how to pay drivers more fairly and how to charge riders more accurately. So a lot of the skills that you learn in CS, engineering, physics are very transferable. I believe that is it. So I will take questions on whether it's this, whether it's my college experience, how BlueStamp has helped me get where I am today. If you guys want to know how my day is going, I'll share that too.
So I don't know if you covered this, but like, what exactly is plasma? Because I've been like trying to read about it, but it's kind of confusing.
Plasma is an ionized gas. So you just take the gas in a chamber and you run an electric field through it to ionize the atoms within. It's used like, there's plasma in space, and a lot of the content in our sun is plasma. Because, our sun is made up of a mixture of gases, and with a high temperature due to the heat and radiation, a good chunk of it is plasma.
How did you get involved with all this plasma stuff in physics?
My professor needed somebody that could code in Python, and I was like, I can code in Python. She also needs somebody that knew the physics that's going on, and so as the physics major and CS minor, she asked, would you be willing to write me a simulation? Because she actually does the real measurements. It's like ZAP circuits. You design them on a microscopic level. But yeah, I did go to her and say, what exactly would I be coding? How long would this research position be for, et cetera, et cetera. But overall, I think it was just a good fit. She needed somebody that could do the coding and understand the physics, and I've learned a lot from her as well. Like, for example, I've never taken a statistics course in my life, but due to this research, I know as much statistics as the next guy.
How has BlueStamp helped you?
It really got me interested in math, science, physics, coding. A little anecdote. The reason why I got into BlueStamp was because I was good at math. I was in my geometry class my sophomore year of high school, and I just showed up and went to sleep every day. But every quiz, every homework, I'd score perfectly because I just had that intuitive sense for geometry and math. And so my professor at the time, or my teacher at the time, she said, have you thought about engineering or physics or coding? And I said, I'm 14, I don't even know what I want to do next week. And she said that she knew some people that were doing the camp, and that I'd probably excel in it because she could tell that I had a knack for math and science. So even though I didn't know what I wanted to do, I was only 14, she kind of like was a good mentor figure because she's nudged me in the right direction. Back then I was really into renewable energy. I actually moved from Houston to California planning to like do solar power or work for Tesla. And so at BlueStamp, I built a solar powered phone charger. You know, you put it in the window and plug in your phone and it would charge. And I was like, yo, I can make things. And these things are dope. And so that's how I got into BlueStamp science. Any questions on the college experience? Because it is a roller coaster, or at least for me. What colleges do you guys want to go to? And how many of you guys want to stay in California? Show of hands. Out of state. How many of you guys just don't know? That's okay too. If I had to provide one piece of advice for people, students, high schoolers, even like college kids, it's your major doesn't define your career path. You can always do whatever you want when you want. I studied physics, CS, and engineering, and now I'm working in finance. But you know, like I'm still knowledgeable and I still love it. I might go back to it one day.
Sam said that you did some networking through BlueStamp, so like, who did you contact?
Oh, Dave and Robin, you meet them yet?
Yeah.
They were like my actual like BlueStamp teachers my year, and I just stayed in contact with them on LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, I posted for a job because I was unemployed and scared. And they asked me if I wanted to teach. Unfortunately, there were like schedule conflicts, so I couldn't teach you guys over the summer. But luckily, I have a job now.
Did Dave and Robin help you network at all outside of them?
Yeah, they definitely said, you know, here's some people you can get in touch with if you're trying this field. I mean, in touch with some people who are like into machine learning, because I love machine learning. So yeah, definitely stay in contact with your teachers and professors. Every year BlueStamp is a great resource, and adult you will appreciate it. Adult me appreciated young Ivan, of course, staying in touch with Dave and Robin.
So what happened with your whole, like, you were interested in the energy field, like, did that just not work out, or?
Oh, see, I still am, just, I'll circle back on it later. So I moved from Houston to California because I guess like in Texas, like they use a lot of oil, and I've always like been like a renewable person, like, you know, sustainable. And so USF actually has a program called the 3+2, where you go to USF for 3 years, and then you major in physics, and then you go to USC for 2 years, and you major in engineering, and you graduate with 2 bachelors. It's intense and rough. So on my 3rd year, I guess like I realized I like the Bay Area too much. I like all of my friends and like, you know, all the ambition around here. So I decided to just stay and do my bachelor's in physics. But then I found out how inefficient solar was. You know, unfortunately, we only get anywhere from 10% to 20% of the actual solar radiation to be converted into electricity. And then I got into nuclear, because nuclear is powerful. You know, you can use anywhere from 30 to like 60% of nuclear reactions and turn those into, you know, energy. And I guess like one day my dream would be to find out how to synthesize nuclear reactions with 0 waste. You know, because like my theory is that if the nuclear waste can do harm by emitting alpha and beta particles into the environment, water, whatever, then there has to be some way we can harness it to do good, to harness the waste to generate more electricity until there's no waste at all. Then I read a book. The book was called The Quants by Scott Patterson. It follows the lives of 2 physicists and 2 mathematicians who kind of got bored of academia. They had published papers, they had, won distinguished teaching awards at conferences and Nobel Prizes, but it kind of just wasn't enough for them. So they started gambling. Edward Thorpe, he was the man who invented card counting. He used math and statistics to figure out, during poker or blackjack, what are my chances of winning right now? What are my chances of winning, 3 hands from now? And he actually invented the first wearable computer. It was a Walkman that with a wire that went down to his boot, and every time he got a king, a jack, or a queen, he would tap his boot, and the Walkman would read him his chances of winning. This was like in 1970, 1980-ish. So it was the very first wearable computer. And he used it to cheat in gambling. And then I read about, in the same book, James Harris Simons, who was a mathematician that broke codes during the Cold War. You can use math to decipher, encryptions. And he did so to help the U.S. get the edge over Russia. And the rest of them, they just use math and statistics to take it to the next casino, which is Wall Street, finance. Because at the end of the day, when you invest in a stock, it's also a risk. It's a gamble. But using, mathematical models and simulations, you're able to get the edge over the next guy. Anybody know who Warren Buffett is? Show of hands, Warren Buffett. The best traditional investor in the world. You give this guy $1 million, he'll turn it into 120 million. And that's really impressive, that's a 20% return. However, at Renaissance Technologies, which is run by engineers, physicists, mathematicians, statisticians, computer scientists, they've been able to double your money just using machine learning and algorithms and math. You don't hear about them a lot because they're like the James Bond of Wall Street, secretive and whatnot. But I don't know, it just inspired me to say, I want to make money. So I'm going to put nuclear engineering on the side and go into Wall Street. And my first job is at a bank, so it's like my stepping stone into Wall Street. Like I said, your major doesn't pick your career. Majoring in physics, I'm doing finance. I want to hear some of your projects, because I know you're doing the mirror. Tell me more about that.
Like modifications and just.
And what is the end goal of the product?
Well, my goal is just to add a voice assistant and customize it to my liking.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I've customized like the interface as much as I can, and I'm just working on my last module, which is the voice assistant.
That is so cool. I wish I had your brains.
Every year, I think the projects get harder and harder at BlueStamp. More and more.
Yeah. My
Like
solar-powered
tech
phone charger, when I was in BlueStamp 6 weeks, but after my physics stuff, I'm sure it would have taken you guys 1 week. So you guys are definitely moving up. BlueStamp as an organization is definitely changing lives, and I appreciate what they're doing, what they did for me, and what they're doing for you guys. And on that note, I think I'm done talking.